Hi, I'm Bob the Brit for the Brewclub.com, and today we're going to be looking at Thornbridge Kipling. Thornbridge Kipling describes itself as a South Pacific Pale Ale, brewed to 5.2% ABV. Well, you know the story about IPAs, how it's in the Victorian times they needed to brew hoppier beers to survive the journey out to the British troops in India, and that's allegedly how India Pale Ale was born. India Pale Ales then languished a bit in the 20th century before they were taken up by the Americans, who brewed hoppier, often dry hopped ales, stronger ales. And then that American Pale Ale came back to Britain, and we got brews like Thornbridge IPA and Thornbridge Jaipur and Punk IPA from Brewdog. And then you got the offshoots, you got the dark IPAs. How does that happen? Red IPAs, Imperial IPAs, and now a Pacific IPA. I discovered this in 2011, about the same time as I discovered Jaipur. The reason it's a Pacific Pale Ale is it uses exclusively the Nelson Sauvin hop from New Zealand. Nelson Sauvin is so named because it is reminiscent of Sauvignon Blanc, and if you know anything about wine, you'll know what Sauvignon Blanc wines are alleged to smell and taste like. I'm not going to tell you, look it up. And so Thornbridge were the first people to use the Nelson Sauvin hop, and that's how Kipling came to market. As you can see, it pours a very pale gold, nice head on it, not too fizzy. And yeah, there's that Sauvignon Blanc nose. It's gooseberries. Yeah, cat's pee, let's be honest. Cat's pee on a gooseberry bush. That's your classic Sauvignon Blanc. Maybe a little bit of pine underneath. I think that the trick with this is that there was a time a few years ago when you'd taste a beer brewed with some of the American hops, and if you wanted to impress your mates in the pub, you'd say, "Can you taste grapefruit?" And they go, "Oh yeah, grapefruit." No, "Oh yeah, you're right." You've gone beyond that now, and what you get here is gooseberries and sort of kiwi fruit, and that's where it comes from. But there's certainly a hint of pine resin underneath that. As for the flavour, yeah, it's sharp. There's gooseberries. There's kind of a hint of grapefruit in there, but it's gooseberry underneath that. The hops are to the fore. There's a nice mellow maltiness underneath, but it's really refreshing on a hot sunny day, which clearly today isn't. It is absolutely beautiful. 5.2% makes it slightly less scary than Jaipur at 5.9, but very drinkable. Yeah, really refreshing, really drinkable, sharp, cleans the palate a treat, but doesn't strip the enamel off your teeth, and it's really enjoyable. I've never seen this on draft anywhere. I'm not sure if it's available on draft, and I'm not even sure if it's available for export. Certainly I've seen it in supermarkets around the UK. Given that they list the ingredients in various other languages, it may well be available elsewhere in the world. Certainly it's here in French, Spanish, Greek by the looks of it. So if you find Jaipur or Kipling, I'd recommend either of them. When I reviewed this for the Brewclub in 2011, I gave this 4.5 stars. 4 stars is a beer that is very, very good and possibly a benchmark. 5 stars in our rating system says that it's a classic. This is between the two. It's very nearly a classic, but I wouldn't want to detract from the glory that is Jaipur. That said, there's always a couple of bottles of both of them in my beer fridge. These will stand a little bit of chilling. Slightly below room temperature better, but a classic beer. Really, yeah, enjoy. Cheers. This is Bob the Brit for the Brewclub.